Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit Acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Is Rogue Media Sports because it's the Cam Show at high noon Eastern Time every weekday, 11 a.m. Central, live on YouTube and then later wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke is keeping us on the air. I'm very glad he's here. We're going to talk to Zach throughout the show. You bet your ass we will. And I would love to get his preview, even though he's not seen the movie. I would like to get his preview on my trip to AMC Theaters for Nosferatu that I will see this afternoon. Oh, a comment already rolling in from the Pete Souza Show. Cam, what is up with all the Baylor football recruits and transfers? Is the hype surrounding these acquisitions warranted? He really should have put the spelling question mark after warranted, which he spelled wrong. I think Pete knows that this is a Boston sports show, that I do several other shows regarding Baylor, and that there are some videos on YouTube right now where I explain my thoughts on the Baylor football recruiting situation. Thank you, Pete Souza Show, for getting involved. You should check that out, by the way. 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time as our distinguished lead-in into the camp show. Our distinguished lead-in. And I believe Pete was back in studio today. No heavy machinery operating behind him, at least not yet. Anyway, I want to start with, we're going to talk a little memory. We're going to take a trip down memory lane here in this first segment. And then I want to do the second segment about what I would probably talk about for this entire show, which is a potential Brad Marchand trade. We're going to have to work in some Zach and the worst thing he watched this week while he's thinking about that. And we will have to talk a pretty interesting comparison that Ryan Russillo put out there for a Celtic star and an NBA star, and who is more valuable. Yes, Jason Tatum is more valuable than Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're going to talk about that. All that coming up on this big episode of the Cam Show. But first, can you believe it's been 10 years since the Malcolm Butler interception to seal the Super Bowl? 10 years, man. Actually, it's 10 years tomorrow, Saturday, February 1st, will be the 10-year anniversary of what, for my money, and I know it's going to surprise you guys, what I consider to be probably the greatest play in the history of sports. Like the greatest single play. Because there is no greater play, just in general, than the one that takes you from certain defeat to certain victory. It is so incredibly rare in the world of sports. Like, think of some of the, iconic moments that you remember, like these buzzer beaters or game winners. I'll even look back to, some great Boston ones. The James White touchdown to win Super Bowl 51, which caps the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. That's great, but the game was tied. The ball rolling through Buckner's legs. Awesome. The game was tied. David Ortiz's grand slam, which picked the Red Sox up off the ground, out of the grave in the 2013 ALCS, was perfect, except it tied the game. This goes from a play where you are winning. I'll be fair, you are winning. But Seattle is 1 yard away from certainly winning the Super Bowl. Like, take any doubt out of it. They're going to win the Super Bowl if they score on that play. To then you taking away that entire certainty, that 99.9% certainty on that one play. So to me, it's the biggest, most impactful, most influential play in the history of sports, because it is that certain defeat to certain victory at certainly the biggest stage that we have in the sport, in the sports world. The Super Bowl. You might have heard of it. We can say that on this show, the Super Bowl. And again, I know this is not surprising anyone, but for my money, also probably the greatest Super Bowl ever. The Patriots have played in a couple, right? That in Super Bowl 51, Super Bowl 38 against Carolina is pretty underrated. That was really great. Last year was a great one. Kansas City and San Francisco. That goes down to the end of overtime. That's pretty good. I'll give them that. Pittsburgh and Arizona, Super Bowl 43, Santonio Holmes, toe tap touchdown. But this Super Bowl 49 was one of the best matchups ever. I mean, you have the defending champs in Seattle with the Legion of Boom, one of the most famous defenses ever, especially to that point. And here were the Patriots trying to win their first Super Bowl in 10 years and was maybe the most loaded of those Patriots teams. I mean, we're talking obviously Brady, Gronk, Edelman. You'll get that defensive side where you had Darrelle Revis, the year that you had Darrelle Revis. Brandon Browner on the other side was no slouch either. That was the 1, maybe 2 years you had him. Vince Wilfork was still on the team. He wouldn't be around for the next one. Chandler Jones was on that team, wouldn't be around for the next one. Hightower, Ninkovich, Jamie Collins. That was a just loaded team. We're not even talking about the offensive line either. Golly, I'd kill for an offensive line like that these days. It also has the buildup of Deflategate, right? And Seattle, like I said, trying to go back to back. They're very brash. I mean, you look at the players on their side too, right? With Wilson and Lynch and Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner, who had a pick in that game. Michael Bennett, who had a great game in the Super Bowl for Seattle. Then there's the storylines within the game. You know, Chris Matthews, the guy who's working at Foot Locker a couple months before, is scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It looks like he's going to win MVP. You know, they can't figure out Russell Wilson. Brady has these great drives. It's so good. It's so good. And then they're down 10 in the second half, and they completely abandoned running the ball. And against a generationally good defense, Brady picks them apart and wills them back into this thing. Oh, it was so great. And Matt Patricia was on the Games with Names podcast yesterday, I guess it came out, with Julian Edelman. And he has an awesome, 15-minute breakdown of that game, and specifically that play, that Malcolm Butler play. And look, I mean, I happen to trust Patricia when it comes to this, but it's certainly one of those situations where it's like, I take it with a grain of salt. But he was talking about having that 3-corner package in the goal line, which is what they go to on that play, and that Bill had always told him to have it for years and years and years, but it was never anything that they used. And apparently Patricia went into the meeting room that week of the Super Bowl, or right after the AFC Championship game, actually, so 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, and said, we've got to have the 3-corner goal line package ready. We just have to. Seattle goes in this personnel far too often on the goal line for us to not do that. And he really breaks down those fateful seconds before. Because you'll remember, I mean, we're coming off the insane curse catch, and then they hand it to Lynch, and Dante Hightower makes an incredible play. He bench presses Russell Okung off of him and basically throws an arm at Lynch's legs to tackle him at the 2-1 yard line. And the clock is ticking. We're ticking under 30 seconds here. And everyone in the world is wondering why Bill Belichick is not calling a timeout to stop the clock and try to conserve clock for Brady when they get the ball back, because Seattle's going to score. In fact, Pete's wondering the same thing. Bill not calling a timeout was amazing. It was. And Patricia is talking about that in this moment. He talks about it in the Do Your Job documentary too, where he's on the headset and a couple of guys are asking, Bill, are we calling a timeout? Are we calling a timeout? And Belichick just says, nope, we got it. Because he's looking at Pete Carroll the whole time. And there's no communication in the headset at this point in the game. And Seattle was really scrambling to get their offense out there. It's almost like they were still hungover from 2 plays before and what they were going to go to. And Belichick basically had said later, he said, I didn't want to bail him out. I didn't want to give him time to think of a play. And when the Patriot staffers start doing the flex for a goal line defense, Seattle then thinks, this is Patricia talking, Seattle then thinks, okay, they're going goal line. We can pass. We can catch them with this quick pass. And what they didn't know was it was a 3-corner goal line set, because you usually don't have that. It's usually a 1 or a 2-corner set. And it's just a really incredible breakdown of this. And they're talking about, and this is also in the Do Your Job documentary from the 14 season, how often Seattle ran that pick play on the goal line, and how in practice all week, every corner on the team saw that route in practice. And what's funny is Malcolm Butler couldn't stop it. He couldn't beat the guy to the spot. Josh Boyce from TCU. Remember Josh Boyce? He was scoring touchdowns on Malcolm Butler in practice on that play, on that route. And, the rest is history. They call 3 corners, Brian Flores. Malcolm, go! And Browner puts him in the right spot. And they jump the play, jump the pick play. It's just the perfect ending to the perfect game, I think. The undrafted rookie free agent out of West Alabama, which Al Michaels nails, by the way, right as it happens. And, we're all geniuses. Belichick doesn't call a timeout. Patricia has the 3 corner set out there. Belichick and Patricia and Ernie Adams and Brian Flores, they made every corner go through that play in practice. And now we're all geniuses. And they win the Super Bowl. Man, what I didn't know was Edelman was saying his go-ahead touchdown play was also thrown in like the night before in the hotel ballroom walkthrough, which is a great play that I do want to go over as well. If you guys will remember it, they actually went to it twice. They did it the drive before as well, where Edelman is the single receiver to Brady's left, and he's still lined up in the slot, basically. And he's one-on-one. He's one-on-one with Harold Simon, who had to come into the game because Jeremy Lane broke his arm on the first pick of the game in the first quarter. And he basically, it looks like a seam route, and then it looks like an up and in. And with that quick move in, he goes straight out basically at the 1 yard line. It's almost impossible for a corner to cover that one-on-one with no help on that side. And they did it the drive before, and Brady missed the throw. Edelman was wide open at like the 2 yard line, and Brady misses the throw. And I remember Collinsworth was like spewing all over the place at how great a play call this was. In the moment, he was like, this, but look at this play, Al. This is perfect. Brady just misses the throw. Like, don't be surprised if they go back to this at some point. And then they throw a touchdown to Amendola to get them back in the game within 3. And the next time they go back to that play. And it's one they put in the playbook the night before. That is the beauty of the Belichick Patriots right there. And they talk about it a little bit on the podcast. But Patricia's like, you guys are what got us those. Like, the fact that you guys could absorb that the night before with no reps in practice and actually go out there and run it. And then Edelman was like, well, you guys had the peace of mind, the presence of mind to think about that and think about the 3 corner stuff. And so it was the perfect marriage. It was the perfect team, man. God, I miss it. God, do I miss it. 10 years ago. Greatest Super Bowl ever, greatest play ever. Yeah, probably. Because I'm the one talking. Anyway, wasn't the greatest, hasn't been the greatest season ever, nor the greatest team ever, nor the greatest play ever by the Boston Bruins. So is it time to trade the captain? I'm telling you it probably is. That's next on the Cam Show.
Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
I need to get real excited.
Sure.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Sheridan Vasquez. And this is Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions. And I will be interviewing some of your favorite musicians and maybe some you've never heard before. Join me on Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions for something new every time. You can find Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemediamusic.com. Yeehaw. And keep the music playing.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Visit blogify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Blogify, Blogify.ai today. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIM-X. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at eSIMX.com. That's ESIMX.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
EasySun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with EasySun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com.
We're back on the Cam Show. It's Rogue Media Sports and Network. Pete Souza in the morning. Cam Stewart the early afternoon. Get you your lunchtime hour of sports talk. Cam Stewart talking all things happening in Beantown. Oh boy, I had to go to something of a dinner party last night. And I'm basically talking to Zach here. And it's with. So this is such a loose connection. So my girlfriend's sister is engaged to a guy who grew up in Evanston, where we live now. Okay. And he doesn't live here anymore, but most of his family still does. And so like we met his family at the engagement party last year. Very nice people. And so she had gone over to have dinner with them a couple of times. This was the first time I went last night. Very nice people, like genuinely, I don't throw that out very often. Very nice people, very lovely time, great food.
Especially seeing it this many times. They must be really nice people.
Like genuinely,
Yeah.
I'm not anyway. But a couple of times the word Beantown came up and I was just like, be nice. Just be nice. Be nice. They asked me like, so you like the town? And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm not, I'm just trying to not be critical or mean or anything. I didn't want to be like, nobody calls it Beantown. Shut up. But like, don't tell me to pack my car. Like, don't. They didn't get to that. But you ever have those?
Is there a giant bean in Chicago?
There is in Chicago.
Isn't that why they're
Beantown?
No, I know, but I'm trying to figure out why Chicago wants to refer to themselves as Beantown.
No. They were saying that
okay. They were calling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. I follow now.
I'm just
And
like,
that,
brother, like never in my life have I called it that.
here's what's
Nor
funny.
heard anyone
Here's
call
what's
it
funny that you bring this up, because I have a buddy of mine who is from Chicago, and
Oh, I thought you were
last
gonna be like, they call Riesel Indian Town.
some people in Riesel might, if we're being honest. That's kind of how that sounded.
Indian Town. Yeah, go ahead.
But I had some time last night after putting the little guy to bed, and I played a game of Madden against him. And so
Against
we
your
were-
against your son.
no, against my buddy from
Oh,
Chicago.
okay. I
No,
just
my
wanted
son
to
was
clarify,
asleep.
yeah.
Like I had the
So
monitor.
it would have been
watching.
easy. Would have been easy to beat him though.
Oh yeah, no, his
If
hand-eye
he was
coordination-
asleep and like 3 months old. Yeah.
But he trash talks though still. So
It
and
happens.
funny enough, it came up. Like it's funny that you tell that story. I don't know how we got onto it, but he was talking about how he wished he knew more people with Boston accents, and he called it. I'm pretty sure he might have called it Beantown last night too. Now that you bring it up, so maybe it's a Chicago thing in general, where they're like, when we refer to Boston, that's what we have to just collectively as Chicagoans call it.
It's so weird, dude. They used to like I don't know if they still do, they might, but like they would put on t-shirts when the Red Sox Yankees rivalry was like at its peak, it would be Showdown in Beantown. And I'm like, why are we funding this? Why are we supporting this? Like, it's just because it's an easy slogan to put out there.
Probably. It's catchy. Well, some people like it.
Yeah, I've literally it's only come from people outside of the city that
So
hear
it's-
that.
So then, yeah, I'm trying to think of what is there something for?
And that was like also to the accent thing.
Yeah.
Like they were asking me last night, they're like, "Oh, you don't have an accent." And I'm like, "Well, I don't really like I kind of suppress it for the most part. Like when I'm
Yeah.
on here, definitely I try to. I probably shouldn't because it's a Boston show, but like for the most part, it was drilled out of me a while ago in college. So when I'm at home or I'm talking a lot, it does come out, or when I'm drunk, it certainly comes out. Or apparently in press conferences when it's not allowed. But like it does come out. And it was funny because they all have fairly strong Chicago accents, not like ridiculous, not, Chris Farley SNL skit, but like pretty good. And I feel like the Chicago/Midwest accent is just like so much more natural. Does that sound right? Like it feels like it's easier to just kind of blend in.
It is. Isn't
I don't
the?
know.
I always thought that the Midwest. I always thought it was like an Ohio accent, but maybe it is the Chicagoan accent. Is what like they think the American accent kind of should be. Like it's like, like when, or I always felt like, like when you would try to break into radio, like they'd always be like, we don't want you to sound like a hick. Like you need to kind of sound like, people want to listen to somebody who sounds dignified, like they're from like that Midwest area. Which
Right, that's what they said about me, because I will agree, Boston does not sound like a smart accent.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound like you're not hearing someone talking a Boston accent being like, "Ooh, I'd listen to that guy." When
That's
it comes
true.
to scientific and health advice, yeah.
But I would argue if the information you're presenting is good, people are
Well,
gonna
sure,
listen, not what you
yes,
sound
yeah.
like.
But dummies listen, so
That's
So I don't know. It was a weird thing where I was just like Chicago / like it doesn't feel like anyone's trying too hard in Fargo. You know what I mean? Versus The Departed, and maybe it's just because I grew up in it, but The Departed, oh God, that was a tough one.
So
Like
you don't
it feels like
so
people are trying hard.
when I brought up that I love The Departed, a little bit of you was just like,
Yeah, I break it down like this. So when it comes to any Boston movie, I'm super critical of the accent.
So let's look, I'm looking
And
at
thank you. I'm super critical of any Boston accent in movies because most of them suck.
Mhm.
But that usually doesn't fully take away from my enjoyment of the movie. I think The Town is okay. And I think The Departed is way overrated. I don't really like Nicholson in The Departed. I think it's
yeah, okay.
I do think the last 30 to 40 minutes of The Departed is still great outside of that last scene.
Oh, the very end with Wahlberg? You don't like the
No, the literally the last frame, the rat with the state house. I think that's so corny and so insulting to a great filmmaker.
Well, he's the one who included it, though.
I know. That's what I mean. It's like so weird that he did that. I think
I always enjoyed it. I think that it was The Departed.
Other people did too. Yeah.
I didn't get into enjoying all of Martin Scorsese's work until a little bit later, and The Departed was honestly like the thing that got me into it. And then I went back and I was like, oh yeah, he did Gangs in New York. You know what? Let me go back and go rewatch.
I didn't like Gangs in New York too. I do like a lot of Scorsese, but I do not like Gangs in New York.
But The Departed was kind of my
probably the only DDL
gateway drug into more Scorsese.
Yeah, I think we talked when Braden was on the show what our favorite Scorsese movies are. You see, it's tough, man. Like, I really love Taxi Driver. I really like Raging Bull.
I still need to see King of Comedy.
King of Comedy is fantastic.
I've heard it's great. I still need to see it though.
You should, dude. It's so good. Especially today. It's so important today. No, but it's really good. Pete's got thoughts, but
oh, does he? Oh, what does he?
Yeah, I would love to know Pete's favorite Scorsese movie.
The Departed is amazing, except accent Snoop alert.
Yeah, he's having trouble with the typing today.
Snob. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I've fully. So my favorite Boston movie, and this is so wild because
Gangs in New York was Scorsese. I don't know. It just came to mind.
My favorite Boston movie was actually recommended to me like 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, by a guy who grew up in Georgia and I met in Texas.
Fever Pitch?
No, I don't really. I guess I can count that, but that would probably be number 2. Yeah, no accents really in that movie, which I appreciate. I appreciate that Jimmy Fallon does not go for a Boston accent in that movie. I think that's fantastic. But it's called The Friends of Eddie Coyle. It's a crime noir movie from the 70s. It's really good, dude. Robert Mitchum is in it, and he actually, for someone who did not grow up in Boston, nails the accent. It's very subtle. He doesn't try to do like a Kennedy accent. He doesn't try to go like cartoonish with it, but he gets all the subtleties of it. Really, he nails it.
I can tell you this, and I am one that I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes on these Criterion like covers and stuff, the one for The Friends of Eddie Coyle, it looks like I'd watch that.
It's really good. I mean, I'll say this: it's pretty low budget in terms of like what the crime noir genre was then. So it's not going to be as high budget as The French Connection or anything. But and it's a lot of dialogue. It's fairly slow, but pretty good tension throughout. And I think like a good crime/mob story because
is there like a home invasion at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean that's on the. I don't think I'm spoiling anything.
Yeah.
It's on the cover of here. But
what I do like about it, without giving too much away, is it's not about the mob boss, which so many movies are. Pretty much all of them are. It's like this pretty low level guy who's trying to get by. And they film a lot of it around sort of near where I grew up. And it's from 50 years ago. And still it's like most of the stuff looks the same. He goes to a Bruins game at one point with Bobby Orr playing. So I love that. And I didn't find out until afterwards that the guy, it was based off a book. This guy wrote a bunch of mystery novels. Crime thriller novels, I guess, not mystery. And the guy went to my high school.
I'm looking this up. It's based off a novel by George V. Higgins, who is
that would essentially be like Zach, the guy going to Riesel High School. Like this is a nothing town where no one comes from except Brianna Chicken Fry, which I guess that's famous. But
and George V. Higgins,
man. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my. I think that I could potentially still be in the running if they were like the top 20 people who have had an impact on Riesel for a billboard. I still think I might be in that running. So
I think you might be in the top 10, brother.
Maybe. I mean, who has done more awareness? You know, who has brought more awareness to that city than me? Honestly,
I mean, Braden Murray.
But that's because it's his least favorite city in the state.
Classic. Oh my God. Classic throwback moment. So this was in the summer. I don't even know. I think we were talking about New Orleans.
Mhm.
And I was just talking about how I hate New Orleans. And I asked Braden, I was like, what is like your least favorite city in the world? Like, where would you, like, I couldn't pay you to live there, couldn't even pay you to visit there. You done with it. And for example, I used New Orleans. Braden goes, Riesel, Texas. Not even knowing that Zach, who was the producer still, was from Riesel.
Yeah,
It's
grew up in
this
that town of
jumpy little
1,000 people.
yeah, this tiny suburb next to Waco. And that's the one he picked, bro. I was, because some people are just like, oh, New York City, I can't ever do it again. It's gross. It's, and he picks Riesel, Texas. A
It is very
fantastic moment.
It is very small, and it only has like 2 gas stations. It does have a Dollar General now, so I mean, there's that. But that's about all you got. As a kid, I do remember we would have to like get up and like drive at least 20 minutes just to go get groceries somewhere. So it is kind of out in the middle of.
See,
of
that's a
nowhere.
pain. Like I was pretty small suburb, but 5 minutes to the grocery store, 10 minutes to the other grocery store.
I guess we could drive to a smaller one that was like 15 away, but like if you want it,
Like a real grocery store.
HEB, it's about 20, 25 minutes away.
Golly.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Daniel Day-Lewis movie?
So
I'm just gonna keep going with this segment and do the
fine.
Bruins next.
No, that's fine. Hot take. I'm not the biggest fan of Daniel Day-Lewis.
You think he's too much?
I respect him as an actor, but yeah, I think his whole like, I'm gonna pretend to be Abraham Lincoln for 3 years before I even shoot the movie is way too fucking much, man. So method actors in general, I just like, I get it to a point, but then there's some of it where I'm like Jared Leto, like, come on, man, sending people like rats in boxes. You're not the
Christian
fucking
Bale, Marlon Brando.
Again, but there's limits because Christian Bale, while he will yell at you on set, has not like, sent
James Dean
co-stars weird stuff.
What's funny is Brando was such a method actor and then just gave up on it one day. Remember, like, I mean, The Godfather, he had to read off cue cards the whole time. Yeah. Apocalypse Now, he couldn't even get into working shapes. They had to make the character fat, which didn't make any sense. Like, that's so, he went from being not quite Daniel Day-Lewis, but kind of like that in terms of the method acting from the early years to just not giving a shit entirely.
Oh yeah. I read recently, it was coming up because of James Gunn's Superman movie in July, but they were talking about, cause he plays Superman's dad in the first movie, Brando does, or maybe I don't remember which, I think it's the first one, but that he refused to learn his lines. So they wrote him on the diaper of the baby that he's sitting there talking to. So he could just read them all. Like, that's the thing. He was just like, yeah, no, I'll figure this out. But favorite Daniel Day-Lewis movie, as much as I'm tempted to bring up Gangs of New York again.
I mean, you like the movie. You like the movie,
it was, I'm going to say, Last of the Mohicans, probably.
Okay. I've never seen Last of the Mohicans, so I can't.
It's been a while, but from what I remember watching it, I thought it was decent. I usually don't watch Daniel Day-Lewis movies just because I think it's a bit pretentious.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
Can I bring up another thing from last night's dinner theater?
Go ahead.
So there was one of the guy's brothers has little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so Grace was doing some trick where she had like a couple of grapes up here to kind of make the kids laugh. And then she started using Godfather lines because there's that scene in The Godfather where Brando's got like an orange in his mouth and he's doing that. And like everyone kind of laughs at it a little bit. And then she looks at me and she goes, well, I guess Cam can tell me because he's the actual movie fan that I got it wrong. I was like, what? Dude, I didn't say anything. Like,
do you constantly tell her?
No, I mean, maybe if we were just the only two, I'd be like, oh, well, he actually says this. But like, no, and she like got it right. And I was like, why are you making, like, that makes me look like a douchebag in front of these strangers, man. Like, they're going to think I like mentally abuse her when we get home.
They for sure think that like she comes home from work one day and she's so happy to see you and she throws some line from a movie out and you just like stop her like, actually, you got it wrong. Don't
Just
talk
trying
to
to
me.
keep them away from me. That's it. Just trying to
Oh,
keep them
that's-
away. I was like, what the hell? I was like, no.
Um,
And there's nothing in that moment that you could do to convince them otherwise that I'm not a dick, right? I'm like, no, you got it. You got it right. What are you talking about?
should I ask you this week what the worst thing, since we're in this
Yeah, we might as well, real quick.
I have one, and I thought about it, and I was racking my brain, and I don't think I've watched. I haven't watched much at all this week. So thinking of the worst thing I watched was a little tough. Because all I've seen was I watched some Sherlock.
Okay.
Rewatch, the BBC with. It's not bad. I enjoy it. Somehow my wife has gotten into NCIS. I don't know why. So that'll be on sometimes.
Shit. Shit.
But again, we've talked about it. Like, I know what it is. So like when I sit and I watch it, I just I cringe a bit, but I'm like, this is what it's supposed to be. The worst thing I watched this week, and this might be kind of weird, is the Dallas Cowboys press conference announcing their new head coach. And it's not even just like, well, some of it is, I guess, the decision, but it is what it is. It was the actual things that happened at the press conference that it was entertaining. But when I got done, I was just like, I have no clue what we're doing here. I thought that Stephen Jones talking about a drought and using air quotes was pretty entertaining.
No, Steven, it's literal. It is a drought.
Jerry, to me, and this is coming from a guy who will get randomly emotional at times, especially ever since I had a kid. But Jerry, it just felt just kind of in the middle of it, just voice cracked, and he was about to cry when talking about Brian Schottenheimer, which was just a weird thing to do. But yeah, I don't know. It just felt the worst thing I watched. It was a bunch of just, I don't know, a bunch of nothing in a way. And it's not even just because I don't like the Cowboys. It's more because I don't necessarily understand the choice.
It's too on the nose at this point.
Yeah.
It's not even that funny.
No.
I'll give you a roundabout one. Can I give you a real roundabout worst thing I watched? Because I technically didn't watch it this week, but I'll explain why. Okay. What I did watch for the first time ever this week was the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Okay.
With Jude Matt Law? Damon and Jude Law. Gwyneth Paltrow. And I thought it was pretty good. And I had heard about how it would, that Saltburn had ripped it off. Did you ever watch Saltburn?
I hadn't seen Saltburn yet. It's on the list. But
so we watched that last year when it came out, and I thought it was okay. Interesting concept until I realized watching this movie, it completely ripped off The Talented Mr. Ripley, entirely. Not even to the point where some of the dialogue / scenes are completely the same. And I'm like, this Saltburn was not released as a reimagining of The Talented Mr. Ripley or anything, but it is the same thing. And so it for the most, 95% of it, there's some little things here and there that are not the same.
Yeah.
But that made me be like, you know what? I don't like Saltburn as much anymore. Because there was a movie that came out 25 years before it that honestly I thought was a little bit better and had Philip Seymour Hoffman in it, which is auto check in my book. And I hate that they did that. So that's the worst thing.
Then now I don't need to see Saltburn if I've seen The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Honestly, you don't. it's the same thing. It's the thing I liked the most about Saltburn was that it was kind of a bold topic, right? This, you don't see many movies about a guy trying to become rich through homoeroticism and murder. But that's exactly what happens in The Talented Mr. Ripley. But it also kind of has an American Psycho ending versus Saltburn almost has a happily ever after ending. The guy's home free, but The Talented Mr. Ripley, not really. You have to then wonder what happens to his life. And thank God they didn't make a sequel, a real one. So,
well, yeah, I will just add real quick, just because it fits in a way. When you bring up Saltburn, I know that Barry Keoghan?
Yeah,
is in there. I watched a movie with him once that was called. It's him and Evan Peters is in it, and I don't remember who else, but it was called American Animals, and it was like a movie based on actual events in a way, about these guys who stole rare books from the Transylvania University College in the early 2000s. So they play like these college students who are planning on like stealing these world famous books from the college library and like trying to sell and fence it. The thing about it that is very, at least the way they shot it, that is really cool to me is they get the actual people who were in there. And so they'll have it cut between like Evan Peters and Barry Keoghan talking to the actual people being like, yeah, no, that's exactly how that conversation. So it's like fiction, because I know they obviously like
dramatize it,
because that's what they do with any of these. But so it's like the fiction parts tied in with the actual people talking to, and it's actually really well done. I don't know why when I thought of Saltburn, that just made me think of that. But there,
I might give it a look. I got the weekend.
And it's only like 90 minutes too. I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying like you could watch a lot worse. Was there anything else when you going to see Nosferatu today?
I'm gonna, Yep. 4:55 screening.
You excited?
Yeah.
Going by yourself?
Yeah. Grace was gonna come. I thought there was a 7:00, but there's not on this Friday, and so she's not gonna be home in time. So she's just told me to go. So I'm gonna go.
All right. Well, you let us know on Monday how it is.
I will. I'm also going to talk about this potential Brad Marchand trade, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Your show.
I'm gonna do that next on the Cam Show.
Shades is your trusted partner in stage lighting, offering a wide range of high-quality, innovative products since 2015. With designs that cater to all needs, fast delivery, and affordable prices, we provide exceptional customer service to ensure your satisfaction. With warehouses across the globe and sales in over 100 countries, Sheds is quickly becoming one of the most recognized names in the stage lighting industry. Visit shehds.com today to discover top-tier stage lighting solutions and become part of our global network.
Introducing Muc-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoalUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Chappellex is a full-category shapewear brand dedicated to providing women with exceptional comfort and support. We offer thoughtfully designed solutions that blend style with functionality, empowering women to feel confident and at ease every day. Chappellex is redefining what it means to have a perfect body. Our mission celebrates body positivity, embracing every shape and size, because true beauty lies in authenticity. Visit shapellx.com today and join a movement towards self-love, acceptance, and confidence.
Indulge in Blum's luxurious Lotus Flower Rolls. The green Lotus Roll bursts with a caramel apple flavor, while the blue Lotus Roll offers a smooth berry cream sensation. With our Crush for Flavor technology, enjoy an instant burst of natural, intense flavor anytime you desire. Elevate your experience with the finest creations nature has to offer. Explore the full collection at blumleaf.com. That's BLUUMLEAF.com. Blumleaf. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
We are so back to close things out here on the week that was on the Cam Show. Maybe what we should do in the future is the best of Cam Show for like the last 5 minutes of a Friday. And it's not anything coherent. We just take the best out of context things I said from the whole week. I'll think about that. Honestly though, this is one that's tough to talk about, but we have to talk about it. The best thing the Bruins can do from now until the end of the season is trade Brad Marchand. And that sucks because he's your captain. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a fan favorite. I love Brad Marchand. He's one of my favorite players ever to play for the Bruins. He's one of the 2 or 3 greatest wingers to ever play for the Bruins with Johnny Busick, and of course Cam Neely. I almost put those 2 players together there in the last name. And who knows if he wants to move, but the Bruins are not going anywhere. All right. They're now under 30% chance to make the playoffs. Right now they're slotted at the 13th pick in the draft. And if you get rid of some of this dead weight, you can get into the top 10. And that dead weight is not necessarily Marchand. I'm talking about these guys on expirings that you're going to get nothing for, not much in return, right? Carlo, Coyle, not an expiring, but someone like Zaka that you could throw in a deal. Brazeau, get rid of him. And then there's Brad Marchand. And this obviously has all kinds of issues as to whether he's going to want to go, what his no trade list could be. But I think you go to Brad and you say, hey, we're not going anywhere this year or probably the next 2 years after this. Like we're not cup contenders. And we know that you want to finish your career as a Bruin, but hey, you're on an expiring deal here. They probably already have some sort of agreement in place going into next year, the way that they did this year. But you can go and chase a cup with somebody, give us 3 or 4 teams that you're willing to go to. We'll make something happen. We can get something in return for you. And then guess what, man? After the season, we might be able to just bring you back. It's rare, but it happens. Keith Tkachuk did it with the Blues. You just say, hey, go help someone out, and we'll get we'll get a young player and a draft pick in return. And that can help us bolster the future that you might be a part of in the short term at age, 35, 36. And this does stink. I love Brad Marchand, man. That goal he scored in Game 3 in 2011 against Vancouver, that shorthanded goal, is one of my favorite goals in Bruins history. And he scored 2 in Game 7. Like a legend. He will be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He will have his number retired at the Garden. But they don't have a lot of trade pieces right now that are of much value. I mean, those other guys that I mentioned, the Brazeaus, the Coyles, the Carlos, trade them for anything. Carlo could get you something. There are some teams that need some defense help. But I look down the list at these teams that are possible contenders that are looking for wingers / scoring depth at the trade deadline. And that's what Marchand can give you. And I do believe that being a guy who is, not going to be in a captain's role, but also a leadership role, it's not all on his shoulders, and can still play a 3-zone game, can still play some power play and some penalty kill for you. I think that's a very valuable guy, even for someone who hasn't quite produced up to his standard this year. But I look at teams like Colorado is one that gets talked about a lot because he's real close with Nathan MacKinnon. Even after that Rantanen trade, they still need some depth scoring, some depth wing guys. They don't have their first round pick this year, nor do they really have their second round pick to shop because they did just get that in the Rantanen deal. So I doubt that they'll just relinquish their first 2 picks in the draft. But that's something. Dallas is an interesting one that could be a spot for both Carlo and Marchand. So maybe you could swing a big deal there. They might have Heiskanen out for the year. And if they do, I don't think they have any shot at winning the cup, but they will need a defenseman back there. And they're also worried that Tyler Seguin might be out for the year. So boy, what kind of weird symmetry that would be where the Bruins essentially picked to keep Marchand over Seguin in 2013 and traded Seguin to Dallas. That all these years later, it could be sending Marchand down there to replace Seguin for the short term, because that's a team that still has a cup window, and that Heiskanen injury and how serious it is will certainly determine that for them. They have their first round pick, not their second, but do have their third round pick. And as I detailed earlier this year on the Cam show, after I went to the Bruins' lopsided loss in Dallas, that 7-2 loss, you do know that there's a ton of young talent there. Young guys with plenty of upside and some draft capital that Dallas can ship out. So that's one that's very interesting to me, to see, a winger that's possibly out for the year that you can go out and replace with Brad Marchand. Kings need a winger as well and some depth scoring. They, like Dallas, have their first and third round picks. That Kings team is also pretty close to contending, even for a team that's not gotten out of the first round the last few years. I think they like their shots. I think they're going to be buying at the trade deadline. Minnesota will be buying at the trade deadline. Kirill Kaprizov is out for a significant amount of time. That's a situation where they can go big deal and put Kaprizov on long-term IR the way that Vegas does all the time, but they need secondary scoring. They have not had that for years. Even with Faber and Kaprizov, that's kind of been the thing that's held them back, is that secondary scoring. They do not have their first round pick, but they do have their second round pick. Columbus would be an interesting one. The darling of the NHL this year. They need some secondary scoring, and they also need some leadership. These guys have not played in the playoffs ever. So wonder what Marchand can bring to them for that. But I think, honestly, everyone talks Colorado. I think the most likely scenario could be Vegas. They need secondary scoring. They need winger help. Marchand and Bruce Cassidy always had a great relationship. The relationship that went sour was Cassidy with the young guys who are no longer on the team, most of them. But Marchand always had a good relationship with him. And Vegas has both their first and second round picks. Not premium picks because they're going to be pretty good. So that might be a case where they're willing to part with a first round pick to get someone like Marchand. I think most of these teams are much more willing to part with a second round pick for Marchand, but in a team like Vegas, you could get a first rounder and or possibly a young player, certainly a second round pick and a young player for Brad Marchand. I think Vegas is a very likely landing spot for Brad Marchand. I think that would make the most sense to me in terms of what the team needs, the relationship that's already there. It's great that Marchand is friends with McKinnon, but the Avs didn't even go to McKinnon before they traded his 100-point winger. They didn't even ask him. They didn't approach him at all. So I doubt that that's a big relationship between, Sakic and McKinnon of like, hey, I'm going to make this move because you like this guy. But here in Vegas, you've got a head coach who wants him, who likes him. That's fascinating to me. Truly is. I wonder just how much he would want. The other one, by the way, is Vancouver. That needs some help. And Vancouver is a dumpster fire right now, but I think they're in a position where they feel like if they can get Miller or Pettersson out of the picture and add a couple guys at the deadline, they could be right back in this thing. But again, just tough sell Marchand to Vancouver for both sides. There's a lot of history there. I doubt that one will happen. But Vegas really jumps off the page to me. And the other reason, real quick before we end things here, the other reason why this could get to a point where Marchand does not mind a trade is you remember the Marty St. Louis exit from Tampa? It wasn't a pretty one. His GM, Steve Yzerman, was also the GM of Team Canada in the 2014 Sochi Olympics. And he controversially did not pick St. Louis, who was having a fantastic year in 13-14. Like he was on pace for like 90 points that year to that point. They ended up putting him on the team as an injury replacement. But that was Martin St. Louis was pissed. He was the captain of the Lightning at the time. He had been a Lightning player forever, and he was pissed, and he wanted out. And Tampa was like a fringe playoff team, and he was forcing his way out because there was such a rift between him and the GM. And he eventually got his wish. He got traded to the Rangers, and that helped Tampa because the Rangers made the conference final, which netted them a first-round pick in that deal. Well, Team Canada, the Four Nations, just announced their captains and alternate captains. Brad Marchand was not one of them. The GM of Team Canada is Don Sweeney. Maybe, just maybe, there becomes a rift there. And Marchand says, you know what? You don't want to make me a leadership guy for Team Canada in my last go around wearing that jersey? Then screw. Your team's going nowhere. I'm sick of the drama. I'm sick of the shit. Send me out. There could be some of that. But don't be surprised if Brad Marchand's traded. Now everyone's kind of on board with it. Elliot Friedman on his 32 Thoughts this morning, said this is something that's going to gain some traction here, and teams are going to be calling on Brad Marchand. As much as I love him, I really think that's probably a good move for the organization and its future, and I think Marchand understands that too, and wouldn't stun me at all if he ends up coming back for the last few years of his career. But I think it's something that could really help the long-term future of the Bruins right now. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Most of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. It helps us out a lot. We're very close to 3,000 subscribers, and that's going to help me out a lot and help the channel out a ton. We're bringing you fresh Boston sports content every weekday, live on YouTube, high noon Eastern time, and then the segments on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts. So appreciate you joining in. Have a nice weekend from all of us at The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.